Hello, I'm Executive Chef Joseph Schutza. Welcome to our kitchen. Today I'd like to share my recipe for lamb ragu with you. We will be doing the Italian ragu today, R-A-G-U, which is cooked with mirepoix, some garlic, bay leaf, and I'm going to use lamb. Instead of using ground beef like traditionally is done and adding pancetta or ground pork, I'm going to use leg of lamb. It's going to be a little longer of a cooking process, but the flavor, in my opinion, will be a lot more developed and a lot better. The French ragu is R-A-G-O-U-T, which is essentially a braised or stewed meat or poultry or seafood, sometimes vegetables, that is heavily seasoned. Very different from the Italian version. Also in the Italian version, many times they use red wine or milk or heavy cream to enhance it. I'm going to use red wine. I just personally don't like the cream added to it. Just a personal preference. So all you need is a few quality ingredients, some patience, and you're gonna have a wonderful dish. So stick around, join me, I'll show you how it's done. To begin, I like to use a cast iron, enamel coated Dutch oven, and just for even cooking, and it does a great job when you're trying to braise or do slow cooking methods. So I'll start off with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to add 2 cloves of garlic and 2 cups of small diced onion, 1 cup of small diced carrot, and 1 cup of small diced celery. In the culinary world, small dice equates to 1/4 inch dice or a 1/4 inch cube. We begin to saute this until everything becomes aromatic and the onions will become translucent. Now that the vegetables have sweat and it's very aromatic, I will add the lamb leg. This is a boneless leg of lamb. It's about 2 pounds total weight, and as you see, I cut them into larger chunks. This is just a personal preference of mine. You could cut them into smaller dices so they cook a little faster, and when the sauce is all done, you'll just have these nice cubes. However, what I'm looking for at the end of the day is I want the leg to be tender, and I also want it to be shredded, almost like pulled pork, to where it's very fibrous looking. So we will sear this really hard. Now, as we're searing the meat, you can see the nice, lovely fond at the bottom of the pan. That's the brown meats and proteins that have stuck to that and are caramelizing. So now what you're going to want to do is deglaze that. I move the meat around a little bit like this just to help give a little more color on it and more juices. And we're going to deglaze with 16 ounces of red wine. I recommend a medium or full-bodied red, like a Merlot, Cabernet, Rioja, or Sangiovese, Chianti, something like that. So now, as we got that in here, stir it gently, moving it around to get that fond off the bottom. We will now add our diced tomato, 2 cups. I will add about 28 ounces of tomato sauce or tomato puree. I'm now going to add my aromatics. I have from the garden: Savory, Thyme, Rosemary, Marjoram, and a dried bay leaf. I will then add chicken stock, 32 ounces. But I'm gonna add it in installments. Put in about 24 ounces or so right now. And then after that, this reduces, we will add the remaining. So I'll give this a gentle stir. We want the liquid to come back to a simmer, and we will put a lid on this and reduce it to low so it does a nice gentle simmer. We will check back on it every 30 minutes or so. As you can see, it's very gently starting to come to the simmer. At that point, I like to put the lid on it and ensure that my temperature is down low, and let the cooking begin. Well, here we are after about 2 hours of simmering. You could see the lamb is very tender. So at this time, what I like to do is I like to remove the aromatics, the herbs, bay leaf, and then it's like we got them all. So now what we'll do is I like to start breaking up the lamb. You could always add some tomato paste to thicken it and continue to cook until it completely dissolves, to make it a little thicker. However, I like the way it is right now. Gives enough liquid to where it's not going to stick to the bottom, and it's, you know, and as you shred the meat, it tends to pull the sauce together, so it's thickening up. So now we'll give it a taste. Very good, very deep lamb flavor, richness from the tomato and the red wine. We will add a little salt to it, and then we are ready for service. Here we have our lamb ragu. You can serve it on many different things. You could serve it over a long pasta, as I did with bucatini. You could serve it on a short pasta, like rigatoni or penne. You could serve it over soft polenta. You could serve it over lentils, white beans, rice, pretty much just about anything you like. Pappardelle pasta is a very popular way to serve it. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. It takes a couple hours to make, but I assure you, taking your time and your patience will be rewarded greatly with a rich sauce, full of flavor, and definitely a crowd pleaser. Well, there you have it, lamb ragu. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I will include step-by-step instruction as well as recipe below. Feel free to leave some comments or questions. And as always, it's a pleasure having you. Yo et Vayet.